Miami's preseason has been a rocky one, but how concerned should fans be from the 0-5 start? And we saw a new starting lineup versus the Hawks on Monday. But why didn't it work? We'll answer that and more on today's episode of Locked On Heat.
You are Locked On Heat, your daily Miami Heat podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to Locked On Heat, your daily podcast on the Miami Heat. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app, thanks so much for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. I'm Wes Goldberg, host of Locked On NBA Daily and Real GM Radio. I'm here with David Ramil. Both of us are credentialed Heat media members who cover this team every day, and we are excited for today's show. We're going to talk about what the Heat's 0-5 preseason record says about the regular season and highlight Jaime Jaquez Jr.'s impressive preseason. And I think we can hit all of our topics, David, by playing one of our favorite games, Big Deal, Little Deal, or No Deal. We are recording this the morning after the Heat's preseason loss to the Hawks. A wild ending to this one. Goes into overtime. Kashad Johnson turns the ball over in Miami's second to last possession. Basically, it could have been Miami's last possession. Turns it over on the inbound. Caleb Houston ends up drilling a three at the end of this game. Miami goes back to the other side. Can't really get a decent shot off. And then the Heat end up blowing a 1-point lead with 10 seconds left in that game and end up falling to 0-5 in the preseason. We'll talk about what a winless preseason would mean for Miami here in a second. But I think the big story from this one, or maybe the big takeaway rather, is it was the first time that we saw Bam Adebayo and Kel'el Ware together in the front court this preseason. No Nikola Jovic, he sat this one out. And so Spo goes to the Ware Bam lineup alongside Wiggins, Norm Powell, and Drew Smith. And that lineup goes down 14 points right away to a Hawks team that wasn't playing any of their regulars, right? It was essentially the G League Hawks. And it looked clunky, it looked messy, it definitely did not look inspiring, and it definitely did not make a case to be the starting lineup going forward. So they go down 14. They do end up -3 for the night. David, but what were your initial takeaways from that starting lineup?
No chemistry.
You're muted.
Just didn't seem like anybody knew what they were doing there. And
no, you're fine.
It didn't seem like anybody knew what was going on. There just was no chemistry at all with that starting lineup. Everybody was kind of freelancing, and there was zero connectivity. We've talked about Nico before being a connector on offense. One of the things that he does well is be able to push the pace, find open players, make passes and things of that sort, or be able to drive downhill and get an easier look at the rim. I don't know that this was necessarily due to his absence so much as just this starting lineup really felt, I don't know, discombobulated. There was absolutely something missing there, and it's kind of hard to quantify just because we've never really seen this group before. During the offseason, I remember talking to you about how little activity we've seen from this group, the potential starters. We just haven't seen any two-man lineup play more minutes than Bam Adebayo in a rookie last season in Kel'el Ware, and I think that was pretty obvious. Like Andrew Wiggins, clearly a veteran, Norm Powell, a veteran player at 31, and yet they haven't played together long enough to really establish any kind of sense of connectivity or continuity or anything. No chemistry whatsoever. That's what really stood out to me. And so it just seemed like there was really a lack of intent, a lack of kind of knowing exactly where you should be. And shot making was just at an all-time low there. And that's saying something for a team that has struggled offensively for such a long time.
I ignored the big question: big deal, little deal, or no deal? What kind of deal are you making out of the clunky start for that lineup? Really
huge deal. Yeah, I really do think it's because this was everybody's pointing to Nico and thinking that maybe he's going to be able to help the team. There are concerns about his defense and things of that sort, but at least they look like a semblance of a group that can function together. And again, this isn't about Kel'el at all. I just really think that him being in there kind of magnifies the problem to a certain degree, just because he's playing his own game and they don't have a playmaker. They don't have somebody that can set the offense to a huge degree. And so I think for a player like him that needs to be able to have his offense set up for him much more easily. He needs to be assisted on his field goal attempts. I think it just kind of magnifies the problem to a certain degree where you notice the lack of chemistry much more obviously than when Nico's out there.
I'm going little-ish deal on this one. I agree with you. There was absolutely zero chemistry, zero connectivity. There was a play where Norm Powell passed it to an empty space where I think Wiggins was supposed to be or something, and it was just oh, all right. Like, clearly, this group is the first time they played together ever, right? And I even tweeted it during the game. I was like, wow, it really looks like this lineup has never played together. That's because it hasn't. And it looked like it. Now, maybe you could argue, well, this group hasn't even played in scrimmages, in training camp at all. I don't know if that's true. Certainly, they have not logged a lot of minutes together in practice and obviously in the preseason. And it is glaring and alarming when you're going up against a G League Hawks team and you've got guys like Norm Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo, Kel'el Ware, who was second team all-rookie last year. Like, these guys who are NBA level players, if not all-stars or all-star caliber-ish, and they can't beat like the top end that nobody knows, right? Like the nobody knows top end brothers. So that is alarming, but I'm going little-ish deal only because it is preseason. I have seen Bam and Ware have success together on the court. I know Norm Powell and Andrew Wiggins are good NBA players. I know Drew Smith is a good NBA player, a rotation caliber player. And when presented with two samples, one small and one large, or a larger sample, I tend to go with the larger sample. And we've seen Bam and Ware work together. We've seen Wiggins play at high level basketball. We've seen Norm Powell play high level basketball. So that's why I'm going little-ish deal. They did go down 14. They end up climbing back. They end up just a -3 as a starting group. That's okay. I was more concerned. I think people are going to take away, oh, well, this is why Bam and Ware maybe aren't going to work together. I actually thought they were fine. I thought the perimeter rotation between Drew Smith, Norm Powell, and Andrew Wiggins was more of the concern in that starting group. But like I just said, I'm less concerned about that. I think they'll find their bearings together. So I'm going little-ish deal.
All right, you bring up a good point though. Like, it's one that I didn't even mention, and I had talked to you about it while we were watching a game. Just the fact that this was against such an inferior lineup, and for the kind of veteran leadership on this team, like the experience that starting lineup should have had, that should have been a cakewalk. And it looked exactly the opposite. And I understand the backups for the Hawks. They're playing with a little bit of purpose because they're fighting for their NBA lives. They're trying to establish themselves, etc. But that's kind of, to me, even why it's more concerning, because you're going up against players that, like, no all-stars, no Trae Young, no Chris.
No, the starting lineup was Vic Krejci, Keaton Wallace, N'Faly Dante, Asa Newell, and Jacob Toppin.
I'm not sure I knew most of those people.
Like, they literally, it's literally two younger brothers of good players, Jacob Toppin and Keaton Wallace. Like, everybody knows they're brothers. I don't know how many people actually know that Obi Toppin and Kaysen Wallace have little brothers that are also in the NBA, except for Hawks fans. It is a concern. Maybe they overlooked it. I don't know. It was also, I know most of these guys didn't play on the front end of the back-to-back as the second night of back-to-back. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just saying, like, do I really think in my heart of hearts that a lineup of Bam, Kel'el, Wiggins, Powell, and Drew Smith would lose to Keaton Wallace and Jacob Toppin in a game that really matters? No, I don't. I really don't. I don't really actually think that. So I'm going little-ish deal because I've seen these guys play better basketball in larger sample sizes. So I can't get too worked up over it. One last thing we have to talk about, though, here before we go to break. Bam Adebayo got hurt in the third quarter, left the game after banging knees, left the game, did not return, did come back to the bench, looked okay. Nobody seems to be overly concerned about it in postgame, but it is something worth mentioning. Really quick, big deal, little deal, no deal on Bam's injury.
I'd say no deal. I don't think it's something that's going to be a concern. He'll probably miss the rest of the preseason, and hopefully he'll be back at practice full strength. And we've seen that before. We just don't want these kinds of things to pile up over the course of the season, especially early on when they're going to need him most.
The Heat don't typically play their main starters in their last preseason game anyway. So maybe Bam was always going to have Friday night off, the last preseason game for Miami. Maybe it was always going to be off for him. But I'm going no deal also on this. If he misses the game even, I'm still going no deal. better safe than sorry. Nobody really seemed overly concerned again in post-game media. The Heat are one preseason game away from doing something that was only done once before in franchise history, and it might not be a good thing. We'll talk about that next here on Locked On Heat.
Today's episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with a brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move. Whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors, this is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. I know so many people are struggling with trying to keep onto their fitness goals. Heck, it happens to me. It happens to everybody. It's hard to stay aligned with what you're trying to accomplish. And that's what Peloton really does for you. They really help stand out in the sense that those trainers will get you going. They'll keep you motivated. They'll make sure that you stay on task and always keep up with your fitness goals. And that's just one of the reasons why the Peloton IQ system really works so well. There's so much specialized training there, and it really gets you to make the most out of your workouts. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. That's onepeloton.com. We'll be right back.
Thanks again for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. The Heat are 0-5 in this preseason. Had a chance to get this one, David. It looked like they were going to have it. They come back from 14 down early in the game, climb back in, end up having tying the game by halftime. They take a 3-point lead. It's at a point in the third quarter, I think it was. And then, look, I don't really make a big deal of wins and losses or even the final score. I don't care that it goes to overtime. I think preseason overtime should be illegal. I don't know why it would even go to overtime, but whatever. So the fact that the Heat lost this game with a bunch of reserves in there, right? You've got Kashad Johnson turning the ball over. It's Caleb Houston making the game winner. I'll make the bold prediction right now that neither of those guys are going to be in at the end of important games in the regular season. So, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. That said, the Heat are 0-5 in the preseason. It's one thing to drop one game in this way, but to go winless in a preseason, the Heat have only done that once before in their entire franchise history. So my question to you, David, with one more game left, big deal, little deal, no deal, that the Heat are 0-5 so far in the preseason with a chance to be 0-6 and completely winless.
What year did they go winless during the preseason?
Oh, why did you come to me with trivia? I think it was I want to say 1997. I'll look it up while you're talking.
Okay. No, I thought it was a point that you would bring up because I think what I'm looking at is that it's a little deal. I don't want to say it's a big deal, although I'm kind of leaning there, but it's certainly not no deal either. And the reason why I say it is because the problems
2007.
It was a pretty bad year. It was a pretty bad year. It was the 06-07 season. It was 41-41. We know how that season played out. I'm trying to think. Was there anything to look forward to in 2007, 2008? Because I can't recall that. I think that was the year Hassan signed his extension, right? And
no, 2007, not 2017.
Oh, 2007. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that was. Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were talking about the bad Dwayne Wade, like the Michael Beasley.
Yes.
Yeah, the down Dwayne Wade year.
07-08 was that was the year that they went 15-67. 07-08 they went 15-67, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how they got the second pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm. Not great, Bob.
My heart hurts just recollecting that. I thought I was looking forward to at least 2017, but not 2007. Oh man. So my concern there is just that we haven't seen anything that stands out. Like Ira Winderman, to his credit, pointing out that during the preseason, Miami ranks 32nd in 3-point attempts through the preseason. 32nd just because international teams have played during these preseason
There's a team from
games.
China. Victor Oladipo's Chinese team.
Yeah, the Guangdong Lions are shooting more threes than the Heat. And I think that's a problem. We talked about this last week. I said, you know what? What the hell does the pace matter if you're not putting up more field goal attempts, specifically from three? You're averaging 28, 27-ish attempts from 3-point range. That's not good enough. There's no pace. There's nothing decisive, nothing with purpose. If you're bringing the ball up, let it fly. Like, what are you doing? And this team is too small, and they're getting blasted on the rebounds every day. And it's just, this is a team that is struggling. And I don't know that Ware is necessarily going to help much in that regard. I know he's been out of the lineup. He's been putting up some big minutes or big points and big numbers coming off the bench. Again, it's the preseason, so it's hard to take seriously. But at the same time, you pointed it out before. The process is what we want to see, and I don't see any. I don't know that there's anything here that you can point to go, oh yeah, that's sustainable. That's a good foundation. You can build on that during the regular season. I don't know where this team is going to find its identity. And if you're waiting for Tyler Hero to come and save the day, he's going to help. But I don't know that he's the kind of great player having to work his way back from injury that he's going to be able to all of a sudden be plugged in and add instant offense to a team that is desperately looking for it. So I'm just not sure. You know what? The hell with it. I'm going huge deal on the 0-5 start. The numbers don't matter.
Right.
It's not even the losses that matter, or the wins and losses. It's just the fact that this team looks so bad in their losses.
Yeah.
I just don't know where they're going to go from here to take a positive step forward during the regular season. Like, where is the spark going to come from? You can go 0-5 knowing Jimmy's playing hooky somewhere. And at the same time, you know that once he comes back on the team, at the very least, the baseline of where that group is going to be is significantly higher. Where's the team going to go from here?
Yeah, so in terms of teams that are winless in the preseason, Cleveland, Philadelphia, Miami, Sacramento, Utah, Memphis. Other than Cleveland, that's pretty poor company, right? And Cleveland, by the way, is only 0-3. Miami's 0-5. I'm going medium-ish deal. I won't go huge deal, but it is a deal of some kind, right? Like, it's not nothing, right? Like I like to say. But because you want at least to feel good about something. Right? You want at least a little bit of proof of concept of this works. And to your point overall, David, I think it is the better point. They don't really look like they've deserved any of these wins. Now, the starters have outplayed opposing starters in some of these games, right? Like, I think the Heat starters were better than the Spurs starters, for instance, in that preseason game. The Spurs were also down two of their main starters. Like, De'Aaron Fox wasn't in that game. Stephon Castle wasn't in that game. And there have been guys in and out of lineups for Miami and for their opponents. But you'd at least like to come away with a win or something at least to hang your hat on. The pace has not translated to good offense. Yes, the three-point shooting isn't where it wants to be. The three-point shooting was way higher than I thought anybody anticipated last preseason, and then it kind of got back to average during the regular season. So I don't know how much to make of preseason shot attempts in general. But, like, they are ninth in points in the paint. They are generating something offensively. They are getting into the paint quite a bit. I think the lob stuff to Kel'el Ware has been really impressive. Bam has been underwhelming overall, but there have been moments where he looks really good. I think the guard play has been mostly better than expected. And we're about to talk about Jaime Jaquez Jr. here in a little bit. But those were just like little positives here and there. It still doesn't feel like there's a cohesive something here. And that's my big concern. And I guess I guess we'll find out, but my big concern right now is that everything that Eric Spoelstra wanted to install offensively just isn't going to work. The same way it just didn't work last year. And you can have the best coach in the entire world, but if you don't have the players, it doesn't matter in basketball. You got to have the players. And I have some concerns and some issues with the offense, the way that it's looked, specifically the offense that Spo has put together. I don't think it's a perfect offense. I wish Bam was involved a little bit more. I wish the guards were involved a little bit less. But it does not seem to, whatever plan they tried to make offensively does not seem to be taking hold right now. And that would be my biggest concern.
2 of 17. The starting lineup was 2 of 17 against those G League names that you just rattled off earlier.
That's field goal attempts?
Yeah, 2 of 17 3-point field goal attempts. That's
maybe
good.
it's as simple as they probably never go 2 for 17.
I don't know.
What if they hit 35% of those shots? Like, we might be talking about a Heat blowout.
Maybe, but I mean, we're kind of counting on non-shooters to step up as shooters all of a sudden. Like, and Norm Powell
what was the breakdown?
A solid. He was 2 of 7. Okay. Ware went 0 of 2. Bam was 0 of 3. Wiggins was 0 of 3. That's just not going to get it done.
That's 5 3-pointers from your centers. Not necessarily what you want, right? You'd hope it would have been more from. Yeah, you'd hope it would have been actually more from Wiggins and Powell, and it really wasn't.
Yeah, that was 2 of 10. I mean, with Drew Smith in there, you're going 2 of 12.
Yeah.
That's not going to cut it.
No. They need to be better. And to your point about Tyler Hero, obviously he helps, but there's not a player on the planet that makes you go from worse than the Chinese team just visiting here to respectable. Like Steph Curry isn't making that happen for an offense by himself. So, they gotta. I think there's work to do. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, again, the preseason. I learn this every single year, and I'm so tempted to make huge sweeping conclusions off of a preseason, or even any conclusions off of a preseason. And then time and time again, we're reminded across the league, not just with the Heat, the preseason might matter in the NBA less so than in any other sport. It just doesn't matter. It's so hard to draw conclusions off of NBA preseason. So that's why I'm not saying no deal, but I hesitate to go huge deal. Meanwhile, Jaime Jaquez Jr. was one of the few bright spots for the Heat on Monday night. Is he laying the groundwork for a bounce-back season? We'll talk about that next.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season's here, and FanDuel is an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You'll love FanDuel. It gives you so many different ways to play. You can build parlays. You can try player props. You can even follow the live lines during games. Well, not if you're a Dolphin fan. You don't want to do that. But if you're watching the other NFL action, believe me, you'll enjoy it. It makes watching football even more exciting when you get a little something riding on the game. Whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Go visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Go visit FanDuel.com today. Today's episode is also brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all of your accounts in minutes so you can see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally, feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. If you're trying to save up for something, and I've made this point before, this is the tool for you because it really helps you keep track of where your spending is and helps you set goals that are reachable. And even more so because of Monarch Money. You'll know exactly where the money is going, and you can finally start saving for that big purchase, whether it's a house, a car, maybe you're saving up for school, who knows? Whatever it is, maybe you've got a kid down the road and you're trying to save up for their financial future. Well, Monarch Money will get you started and help make sure that you stay on call. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONNBA. We'll be right back.
Jaime Jaquez Jr. finished the game with 17 points on 7 of 14 shooting, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. He was Miami's only player to play 20-plus minutes against the Hawks and finish with a positive plus-minus. When you talk about lone bright spots, that's about as lone a bright spot as it gets. He looks not only great in that preseason game, David, I think he's looked great this entire preseason. He looks healthy. He looks spry. He's moving well. And I've thought this since the first game of the preseason. I think he looks as comfortable as anybody, maybe more comfortable than anybody else in this new up-tempo Heat offense. This is how Jaime Jaquez Jr. likes to play. I know we think about him as this old school type of player that wants to get into the post and slow things down. That's not really... No. Like he likes to get into the post and do other things. He's not a slow down player. I remember doing my feature on Jaime for the Ringer a couple of years during his rookie year and talking to his high school and college coaches, and both of them were unprompted said, the main thing with Jaime is we got to figure out a way to slow him down. He just wants to move so fast all the time. And I think this new offense suits him in a good way. His preseason stats overall, 12 points per game on 50% shooting, 50% on threes, which is also very good. Not, obviously something we expect. 3 rebounds and 2.4 assists. Not all-star caliber numbers, David, but in limited preseason minutes, the efficiency is there. But even more importantly, he just looks like he's moving right in a way that he didn't look like he was moving right his sophomore year.
Should he be in the starting lineup, at least as the placeholder until Tyler returns? Because I know that
I wouldn't rule it out.
I'm not sure why the change was made. Like, I understand Drew was making impact plays and stuff like that, but it seems like the offense has gone down even a little bit more because of his insertion there. I don't know. Again, there's so many ways you could look at it.
I still wonder if we're going to see, is Drew Smith just the placeholder for Davion once Davion is cleared for full minutes?
Fair enough. There's a lot of different options there. And that's the thing too. Like, I know I'm kind of skewing negatively after the 0-5 start and watching that team get beat by players that might not be on an NBA roster for much longer. And yet, there are concerns. You're missing your best scorer in Tyler Hero, and you haven't got a lot of chemistry, a lot of opportunity to play a regular amount of minutes. And to that point, maybe there is some hope that somebody will pop or somebody will figure it out, or once the regular season starts, that they'll play with a little bit more purpose. I'm not sure where that's going to come from. Maybe it's Jaime. It could be. Like, I like what I've seen from him, to your point. I think he looks much more energetic. He looks healthy. He looks stronger, able to be a little bit more explosive, finishing
getting
well
into
around
his
the
post
rim.
stuff better. Like, there was something that Spo said during Jaime's rookie year. He says that Jaime just does a great job of eating up space. And I thought he stopped eating up that space last year when he was just so focused on becoming a good three-point shooter. He spent way too much time on the perimeter. Now he's back to pump faking and driving into space and using that shoulder to create more space and just getting a little bit closer to the basket, where he's got really good, like, once he's got 2 feet in the paint, Jaime's got great touch.
Yeah.
And that's
the highlight making the rounds there, where he's like driving the full length of the court, and then he kind of gets into his post up in the painted area. He kind of dribbles to his left, dribbles back to his right, and then goes back to his left shoulder, lets in a little soft hook in the paint, drops it in there, and he gets the and one too. So it's not a very complicated move. It's not like he was bullying his way in there, but it's so decisive. And because he has the strength and speed to pull it up, the quickness, I should say, maybe not elite burst necessarily, but just he's quick enough, and it throws off players. You hope it translates, because last year we saw other teams figure it out, but that might have been more because he wasn't quite as decisive, or maybe he wasn't quite as healthy. I think if he continues to play this way, we'll start to see a bounce back for him. He does look significantly better than he did last year. Last year, I think that same move would have been just a shade slower and would have gotten swatted into the third row.
Yeah. The decisiveness is huge too. I mean, there's been a lot of players bigger, faster, stronger than Jaime that have not played a lick of NBA minutes because they're not decisive and they don't know what to do on the court, and they don't have a superpower skill. Jaime has a superpower. He is decisive when he's playing like this, and that stuff just matters more than straight line speed in the NBA, and certainly Jaime has that. So, in terms of people who pop, Jaime is popping. Nikola Jovic has looked really good when available in this preseason. I think that's what at least we've seen so far. Now, who knows what it means, right? We don't know.
Yeah.
But so far, these guys have played really well. I don't know if Jaime Jaquez Jr. starts. I wouldn't, like I said, I would not rule it out. Maybe you just start Norm Powell as the lone traditional guard in that lineup, and then Jaime is the two guard or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. But I still probably think they end up starting Davion or Drew Smith, depending on who's healthier to start the season. But they closed the first half with Jaime in that spot with Powell, Wiggins, Davion Mitchell, and Bam. And I've thought that's pretty close to what I think the closing lineup will be when Tyler Hero's healthy, where it'll be Davion, Hero, Powell, Wiggins, Bam. It was just Jaime in the Hero spot, which is how Miami that's how Spo started the preseason, was with Jaime in that starting lineup in the Hero spot. So maybe there's an opportunity for him to close games. Who knows? Depending on before Hero comes back, that could be a potential thing for him.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of different permutations with this roster, and I don't know that we've had a chance to see everything. And with Tyler out, that kind of does take a big chunk out of it too. Because of the few guys that is written in Sharpie in that starting lineup, Tyler is one of them, and then you have other players that could kind of filter in and out there.
I think there's 3 guys written in Sharpie. I think it's Bam, Wiggins, Powell, with Hero out. I think it's Bam, Wiggins, Powell. I think this is actually a really good conversation maybe to pick up for tomorrow's episode, David. Maybe best options for the starting lineup. That could be a segment for us, based on what we've seen so far. One preseason game left Friday against the Memphis Grizzlies. This was supposed to be the dress rehearsal game. We'll see if Eric Spoelstra decides maybe to make Memphis a little bit more of a dress rehearsal, especially depending on guys who might be healthy. If Jovic comes back, if Davion's ready for more minutes, if Bam is maybe healthy and he wants to give it a go, we'll see what happens. But that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.